PK52, the Saturday morning meeting. Hey, happy 2022. It's a new year, a lot of speculation. A lot of people think it's going to be better than last year. You know what? Let's let the year play out and let's see what happens. I do have a special message for you today. Some of you watched in the news as we became the #1 volume manufacturer in the United States for 2021, beating out General Motors for the first time. So that doesn't mean that General Motors is not going to retaliate next year and try to take the crown back. So we've got a big year ahead and we're building more product. So there will be more product this year. I base that on the objectives that they're giving the regions out there. So I'm looking at most of the regions for the United States for Toyota, and the number is somewhere above or below 10% increase in sales for the year 2022. So we've still got a little bit of a COVID and a chip problem out there, and we'll catch up to that and past that. So we're going to increase by 10%. Let's say it's 10% nationwide. That means 10% more we grow in 2022. But that means that when availability comes to us, it also comes to Hyundai and Kia and Ford and Chevrolet and Honda and everybody else. I don't think there's any manufacturer out there that's going to make a strategic call, let's don't build at 100% of our capacity because the market's going to be saturated. I think that everybody's going to build every single vehicle they can. And so here's where we are right now. We've talked about it, and it's been an interesting ride, and most have done really well. We have a demand market. I have one vehicle. There is not another vehicle in the market area that can match this vehicle. It's exactly what a customer wants. They will pay what I'm asking for them to pay. So it is a demand market, low supply. But as we catch back up, as the supply comes back, as the chips come back, and everybody wants the chips to come back, we're begging for it, so be careful what you beg for. And all of a sudden, we overshoot. There's no way we're going to hit it perfectly. We're going to go past the market. And so now, instead of having one Lunar Rock 4Runner and nobody else within 500 miles has one, whether it's pre-owned, certified, or new, it doesn't matter. Nobody else has one. And I've got it priced, and I've already told everybody that's contacted the dealership, this is the price, there is no discount. And we've gotten to the point where I put up here relationship, courtesy. So there's been times when the people have not been courteous. Looked at a customer, I'm sorry if you won't pay our price, leave. And I'm not saying it was said like that, but the impact to the customer when they're trying to buy something and we walk them, do we ever get them back? That worries me because I don't know. There's a lot of people that live in America, but there's a finite number of people that will buy in my market, and I certainly don't want anybody upset with my dealership because I want another opportunity. I might have missed somebody, or they might have told me they're not ready to buy right now. It's a little bit too much money. It wasn't that they were upset. It's just they didn't want to spend that much money. So when they're ready to come back 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 months from now, I want them back. I don't ever want to dismiss anybody so they never come back to do business with me or my dealership in my market area ever again. But it's become easy to tell the customer what they have to pay or leave. And it's working. I have the right vehicle. My used car department's gone out and bought vehicles. We paid way too much money to get these vehicles, to source these vehicles. And now we're trying to charge all the money for the vehicles and the customers are paying that. That's where we are right now. But let me put you in a situation where you're trying to sell a Corolla. And in your market area, let's say within 150 miles, let's say there's 20 Toyota dealerships, 10 to 20 Toyota dealerships. And each Toyota dealership has a Corolla in the same color the customer's looking for. And they have multiple in stock, 2 or 3 for 20 dealerships. So 3 times 20 is 60. So there's 60 of these white Corollas in the same trim level that are all MSRP exactly the same. They're the same car. Toyota does a really good job making all the cars the same. We don't, well, that car's better because it was built on a Wednesday. We don't have that issue at Toyota. The cars are identical. They're great vehicles. But now there's 60 vehicles that the customer can choose for. Now some customers are willing to work harder than others. Some will come to one dealership, buy a car, and go. That's been since I started in the car business. Other people will be online for multiple weeks trying to negotiate a deal, going from dealership to dealership and leave. They'll leave and go to another dealership. And so now that customer's asking how far we'll sell the car back of invoice, not back of MSRP, back of invoice. If you were selling cars 2 years ago, before COVID, we were selling Corollas and LE Camrys at cost or below cost. and using factory money to be able to manufacture a car deal because there was an ample supply, and most of the customers had moved away from passenger cars and were looking for SUVs now. So that became a market that was saturated with cars and not that many customers. And I'm telling you that will come back again. So if I can't sell the car because there's multiple cars, there's 60, so it's not the car now. It's not the dealership because there's another dealership down the road. Then it has to be the passion and the courtesy and the effort that I put in to earn that customer. Toyota spends multiple millions of dollars a year expressing the value of our product to the buying American public. Base commercials. They sponsor the Olympics. They sponsor football and basketball and baseball. They sponsor everything. The Toyota name is out there. They spend millions to get people to consider Toyota. Your dealership spends thousands of dollars to talk about the marketing and the value of doing business with them in your area. They spend the money, but there is no money spent on the salesperson. They're not spending any money advertising you. They're not spending any money advertising the service writers, your ASMs in the service department, or the quality of your techs. There's no money spent on advertising who your techs are. And we sell banking also. That's your F&I managers, and nobody markets your F&I managers as the best place to bank in town. None of that is done. So that is self-marketing. So what you have to do is you have to realize as this market starts to pivot, the most important thing is the relationship I can build. And it's not a personal, I'm inviting you over for my child's birthday party. It's a business relationship. This is my doctor. I go to this doctor because I trust this doctor. Why would I go to another doctor? Every time I go to this doctor, I'm taken care of. They're courteous to me, and they listen, and they take care of me. I had a pipe burst last year. A plumber came out on Sunday at 9 o'clock at night and took care of that. Am I ever going to call another plumbing company again? Ever? No. I've got an electrician. I've got somebody that built an annex onto my house or built something for me. So people have people they call for specific needs. There should be no difference if you're selling cars. My car guy, my car gal. It's kind of my car guy. It's kind of like a last name. Hey, Casey, my car guy. You know, hey, that's my car guy. So what I want to do is I want to build that relationship with the customer, not a personal relationship so that we hang out together, but a relationship if they have a question about the car business. Hey, Casey, hey, man, my Tundra is 4 years old right now, and I'm getting conflicting information about the new Tundra. I hear there's not a V8, and I'm just curious. I want them to call me. I don't want them to go onto YouTube. I don't want them to go on to some of these blogs. I want them to call me. I'm the one that knows. Call me and we'll talk through it. But they don't think about picking the phone up and giving you a call. Hey, Casey, I was thinking about taking a trip. I've got 3 kids. You know, I bought the Camry for you last year. Did you mention you had a rental car part of your dealership? You guys actually rent Toyotas. Is there a possibility that you might ask a couple of people in next month if I can get a Highlander for a week? Okay, so you rent a car at Hertz right now. You're paying all the money for an old beat-up car that smells like a Hertz car. Why would your customers, if they had multiple people in the car, not call you up multiple weeks in advance and go, hey, Casey, could you check on me a second just to see if we can get a Highlander for 4 or 5 days? We're going to go take a trip up in the mountains. We're going to go see my mom for the first time in a long time, and we'd like to have something a little bigger than our Camry. Could you take care of that? But they don't call us. Why is that? And I worry about that because I don't want a departure of the customers. As these other manufacturers go back to their 100% build, and as the other manufacturers build better and better cars every single year, as the domestic manufacturers are going to run at us when the chip problem and COVID is over and try to explain to everybody why you shouldn't buy a Tundra because we didn't offer a V8, I want that customer to call and ask you, why is the V6 here? Why did you go with only a V6? Why have you changed the truck? What is better about the truck? So that they don't consider going to a Ford or Chevy or GMC or a Dodge truck. We need to start selling ourselves. I bought 2 cars during COVID. I'm going to finish this up. I bought them at the beginning of COVID. If you were working at the beginning of COVID, it was really a buyer's market. The dealers were thinking, oh my gosh, we have too much inventory. No customers are coming in. And they were sending cars to the auction. And it was kind of a panic because nobody knew what to do because nobody knew what was coming. It's nobody's fault. It was just something we never experienced before. I bought Courtney a vehicle and I bought a vehicle for myself. At the days that we bought those vehicles, we were the only customers at that dealership. I don't know if they had any before or after we left, but it was a ghost town. And some of you were furloughed. The dealership had such little traffic that they furloughed you for a couple of months, and I'm glad you're back. But it got tough. It was a buyer's market. It was a perfect time for us to buy. I bought a Highlander and an FJ. I did not buy either one of them at a Toyota store because the Toyota stores didn't have them. I did the research online. I investigated the price. I did a Carfax. I investigated the background of the car, all the mechanicals that were listed online. Both of the vehicles I was very interested in buying before I went to the dealership. I'd already done my investigation. I knew more about the background of the car than the salesperson would. That's fine. I'm in the car business. That's the least that I could do while I was purchasing a car. I can't remember either salesperson's name, first or last name. I couldn't even guess if there was money involved. I have no idea. I was never contacted. I set the appointment up. I arrived on time for the appointment. The appointment was never confirmed. The cars were not presented out front. They were not ready to be test driven. They had no other customers at the dealership. They never called me back. They mailed the license plates to me. I was never called back by any associate of the dealership thanking me for my purchase and asking if I had any questions on either one of those car purchases. There's a lot of you watching right now that I know you by name, and I know that's not the way you do business. But there's a lot of people that don't stay in the car business because it's a day-to-day business and you don't know what the day bears. If every single customer that you sell a car to, you build a relationship with. And I think people have a misconception of the word relationship. You're not being invited over to their child's birthday party, not on a regular basis, okay? That's not the relationship I'm talking about. I'm talking about a business relationship. I'm talking about, you have a doctor. It's a family doctor that you found. You've been to the doctor several times. You are very happy with this doctor. So all of a sudden you start feeling bad. Are you going to go to a random doctor? Are you going to go seek somebody else now when you're in need? No, you're going to go back to the person you trust, your doctor, your dentist, the plumber that took care of you, that came out on a Sunday night at 9 o'clock, that you had a pipe burst, and they were out there until midnight taking care of you. Are you ever going to call another plumbing company again? So these are the kind of relationships I'm talking about. Why are we so obsessed with having one doctor and one dentist, somebody to take care of that, when one of the biggest purchases in our life that we do multiple times? People don't buy multiple houses. They might buy a couple, but people in their lifetime will buy a lot of cars. Why wouldn't they go back to the same salesperson every single time? I told my customers, I said, if you find that the Toyota brand is not what you want and you're ready to buy a car 4 years from now, don't think for a second that I can't talk to my dealer and get anything that you want delivered right here to this dealership, and I'll sell the car to you, new or pre-owned. And I could get that done. My dealer picked up the phone and called anybody else, but why would they leave the brand? That's why I stayed with Toyota, but that was an option. I wanted these people as customers for life. I've still got customers that call me when they're ready to buy a car from 20 plus years ago because they want me to make a call to the dealership so they're treated as a VIP. And I think that every customer should be treated as a VIP. So right now when we don't have to do this, and I don't mean that you shouldn't, I said we don't. We have one car, it's at one price, and if you don't pay it, we'll walk you. That's where we are right now because the market is in such a demand market. But let's start doing follow-up phone calls. Let's start letting the customer know the car where it'll be parked, it'll be clean, it'll be fresh, it'll be open when you get in. Let's let the receptionist know in case we're busy. If they walk in, I was supposed to meet with KC. Oh, are you Mr. Nix? You were looking for the white Camry? He's already got that parked out front. I'll get him for you, but why don't you guys go on out there and look at the car? I want everybody in that dealership on the same page that we're trying to build a relationship long-term with every single client. It is going to be paramount. I'm going to give you one last deal. You're now selling cars. You're at a Toyota store. Customer comes in for a white LE Camry. They're looking for basic transportation, and they know that the Camry is going to be a great car. Now, there's 7 dealerships in your market area, right there in your metro. In a 150-mile radius, there is 20 Toyota dealerships. You have 5 white Camry LEs in stock, and they're all equipped basically the same and all priced the same MSRP. And every dealership that I just mentioned, the other 19 stores, also has 4 to 5 Camrys. Now, that customer doesn't have to buy that car from you, and they can shop for price. Some are willing to shop for multiple weeks online and personal. Some people will buy in the first dealership they come to. It just depends on the customer. So if it's not the car, because they know the car, if it's not the price, and they're willing to drive, the only thing to make that customer make a purchase is you. That's the courtesy, the relationship, the attitude, and go the extra mile. That's a slogan. Go the extra mile. If you go the extra mile, that means that everybody else that you're working against is a mile behind you. They can't be seen anymore. They're out of sight. You are the only one they're looking at. You will get the car deal. It's always been about a business solid relationship and doing more than expected. I do believe at this point in time that some of the salespeople in the United States, no matter what they're selling, if they're selling toys like ATVs and motorcycles or cars or trucks or real estate, it's such a market that if they don't sell it to that one person, they know there will be another person next, and there's only one of a kind, and it's not going to last. Houses are selling for multiple $1,000s over asking price right now. So the real estate agent's doing a great job showing all the specs of the house, showing all the neighborhoods and the schools and everything, or do they market the house and sell it in one day? So be cautious, because the biggest asset, the biggest commodity that we'll ever have is the customer, and the best customer is the one that comes back to you multiple times. Build your client base because of your personality and your talent. PK52, the Saturday Morning Meeting.